The following is a rebroadcast of the 1993 Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. Be sure to join Doug Brown and Dan Murphy on Sunday, October 10th for a brand new season of Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Last week, we kicked off our 5th annual Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions, and Neil Gosselin got things rolling with 6 straight marks on the way to an opening game 151. Bob Mazur got hot in Game 2, almost pulling even, before Gosselin's double strike re-established a 29-pin lead. In Game 3, there was an opening for Mazur to come back, but a series of frustrating near-miss spares saved the win for Neil Gosselin. And today, he'll go for 2 in a row against 4th-seeded Tom Morgan. This is Candlepin Stars and Strikes, Week 2 of the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Park Place Lanes here in Windham, New Hampshire. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy and a packed house as we move into Week 2 of our Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. Of course, 2 full hours here on the Winds, singles now, and then next hour it'll be the doubles Tournament of Champions. And we move on. It gets more and more interesting every year, it seems.
Absolutely, and these bowls got to do something to compete with last week's show. It was a high-scoring match and back and forth. It was a great match to watch, and well, we got the potential to have another one this week.
All right, let's get right to the introductions here and let you meet who will be bowling today here on the Winds. First of all, our number 6 seed coming off a win last week, looking for 2 in a row from Lynn, Massachusetts, Neil Gosselin.
And a big 400 last week as well, averaging 125. He has a high single of 210 and a high 3 of 459.
And he's averaging, really, his last 5 appearances here, right around the 400 mark. He has been right at or near 400 many times. Ironically, the lowest score, as we've talked about before, that he's thrown recently here on Stars and Strikes was the score that got him into the tournament.
Yeah, and if Tommy brings his best ball, he's going to need another big 400.
All right, let's meet Neil's opponent. Our number 4 seed comes to us from Revere, Mass. It's Tom Morgan.
Okay, Tom comes in averaging 127, high single of 192, and a high triple of 490.
All right, and of course, Tom been on the show with us many times. This is his 2nd appearance in the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions, and with these 2 guys, both originally from the Lynn area, we're going to have a big, noisy crowd for this one.
I think we're going to turn our mic volumes up just a little with this one. This should be noisy and exciting and I hope high scoring.
All right, and we're going to have, of course, the bonus ball contest later on in the program. Lots to get to here on Stars and Strikes. We'll begin the match between Neil Gosselin and Tom Morgan right after these words. We're back. The Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions Year 5 continues. This is our 2nd week. If you weren't able to join us a week ago, Neil Gosselin threw an outstanding 416 to knock off Bob Mazur with a 378. So Neil is back for Week 2 to try and make it 2 in a row, but it'll be tough against Tom Morgan, who has an outstanding record here on the program as well. Next week, Peter Flynn comes in to match up against the winner of this one, Rico Baldinelli. In 2 weeks. 3 weeks from today, our championship match for the season will feature who else? Paul Berger. He's been in every one of the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions so far. Neil Gosselin will all set now to step to the line and get this match started. Neil had 17 marks a week ago, throwing that 416. He started the match with 6 straight spares. And he starts this match with 1.
If you missed it last week, he started with about 6 of those. Not about. He started with 6 of them.
And there's 2 right there. Strike on spare. Neil doesn't like to waste a lot of time.
No, doesn't want to tire himself out. He threw 2 boxes and threw 3 balls.
Here's Tom Morgan now. Ooh, let that one slip by to the right. And it'll be an $8.
Oh boy. Takes out just the 2-pin, leaves the 5 and the 8. So he'll be open the first 2, and like last week, Neil Gosselin will jump out to an early lead.
Don't forget that coming up at 1 o'clock, immediately following here on the Winds, we'll have week 2 of the doubles tournament of champions. Chuck Godzik and Peter Flynn will try and make it 2 wins in a row, as they'll face Jack Sanick and Brian McKinley. This is on a strike now for Neil Gosselin.
The 1, the 2, and the 4 left. Trying to go spare on strike, and he does.
Yes.
And that's 3 marks in a row, and
just 5 this time.
We'll give you 5.
4 horsemen right, plus the 7-pin in a left-hand corner.
And the corners are still there. It's a 9-box, I think. Yep, that ball will roll off. Tom Morgan qualified for the Tournament of Champions by winning 2 matches. Came in as a number 2 seed in January. Knocked off Dave Blaine with a 358. And then the following week he rolled a 381 to beat Steve Vadney.
3-6-7 for Tom. Piece of wood angled toward the 7. Yes.
Oh, yes. Fine shot for Tom's first mark of the match.
Just like playing a single pin, the 3-pin, because everything was just right, set up for him beautifully to carry the 3 into the 7 for the spare in his first mark.
And on the spare, it'll be 8.
And he's got some help in between the 2 and the 8.
Just like that, 2 in a row. Mentioned that both of these guys are originally from Lynn, and they know each other very well.
The 3 and the 5 left for Neil. Piece of wood. Have to come up high in that wood, though. The second piece, the one behind, could help him with the 5.
Oh, how about that
me?
shot? How about that?
How did that go?
Neil just turned around and kind of laughed.
I can't understand why the 3-pin didn't go. I thought that, well, I guess the wood wasn't frozen against the 3. And he gets some good sidewall action, and well, ho hum, it's just another mark. Oh, he's back in the pocket, and it trips out the 10. Just the 4-pin left. Big 9 fill on that strike. Ooh, gotta hurry. If Neil had a problem last week, it was with singles late in the match, and he goes by the 4-pin here. And again.
So a 9-box, 92 through 6. Tom Morgan on a mark. The winner of this match, of course, will move on to week 3 to face Peter Flynn next Sunday. Just a 3 fill on the spare.
Tommy really let that go a little too soon. Left it out to the right. Just 3 on the strike, on the spare, I mean. Good recovery there. Everything but the 7.
The runner-up in this match will take home 5th place prize money for $200. Or this is kind of a Lynn area grudge match. Maybe the winner will have to buy the Kelly's roast beef sandwiches too. Mike Ferranti is here, been on the program previously, and brings us greetings from all the gang at Kelly's, and we certainly want to say hello to them down on the beach. It's getting crowded down there now with the weather getting warmer.
Yeah.
2 opens for Tom Morgan, and the lead is 25 for Neil Gosselin. So this match right now is shaping up much like a week ago when Neil got his early lead. Off the head pin, but not too bad. The 1 and the 3. Yeah, and the spare.
Got the break off the first ball and was able to cash in by knocking down the 1 and the 3. His 5th mark already.
Last week, Neil had a 151 opening game with 8 marks. Oh, this time he chops out the 1 and the 8. Just a 2 fill.
1 and the, yeah. Wow. Somebody said, I haven't seen this made in a long time. Well, the reason may be that you don't see it very often.
Trying to avoid a bad box now. Still 6 pins standing. And it'll be a 7. 111 through 8.
So just a total of 19 pins there in those 2 boxes, even though he had a spare. It's a break for Tom Morgan, already trailing by 25. 4 horsemen left, 1, 2, 4, 7. Piece of wood in between the 2 and the 4 should help him. First order of business is to grab the head pin, and he played it on the right-hand side, and 1, 2, and 7 are gone. As the warm weather approaches too, Doug, I have a message for you.
You're taking me golfing?
Well, some fellas up in my area, the Keeler boys, would like to know if you like to have a match. And
is this the match that I slept through last year?
Well, that's what I was going to say. They said maybe in the afternoon would be better for you. And I said I'd try to set it up and ask you if you had your alarm clock in working order. Tom goes right through the middle with that one.
I'm ready for a game anytime, even if it is early in the morning. I'll stay up all night to make sure I'm there.
I think the 3 of us will start calling you from 5 o'clock on.
Well, there's something you don't see very often here on Stars and Strikes, matching 7 boxes. I don't know if that's ever happened before. And Neil comes right back with a big 9 drop.
And he wants that wood to come out and then turn a little bit, otherwise he's going to have a tough angle, and it's not going to turn. See, he might roll back far enough so he can, he may have a clear shot at it after all. In fact, it may help.
Boy, it's still kind of rocking, and that difference of an inch or 2 positioning could make a difference in the shot. Let's see. Oh, he got it.
6th mark out of 9 boxes. There you see it, all spares except for that strike in the second. 121 now plus the bonus ball. Oh, he's right back in there, and for a minute it was the 4-5. The 5 goes out of there. 9 fill on the spare. 130 in the 9th. Chance to pick this one up and be very close to his opening game of last week.
And there it is. 140 plus a ball. He got 20 in the 10th in the first game last week for his 151. Let's see. That close. Another 9 drop. Again, the 4 pin. And it's a 149 for Neil Gosselin.
Tom's brother Mike in the audience. Words of encouragement. Come on, put a couple up there. It's a long ways to go, and he's exactly right. This is only string number 1.
Well, the high-low jack here for a spare possibility.
With help. Front of the 7 and another piece of wood behind the head pin.
Not carrying the 10 pin. the 10 bucks. 94 through 9.
Oh, boy.
Boy, Tom really hasn't had a lot to shoot at this game.
He's going to have to play this one just like the 10-pin was up and just pinch the 6-pin on the right-hand side. No, not quite enough to the right, and try to dance everything from right to left.
Well, once again, Neil Gosselin is going to have a sizable lead after game one. 104 for Tom Morgan, 149 for Neil Gosselin. 2 games to go, though, here. A long way to ride still here in week 2 of the Stars and Strikes Tournament of Champions, our 5th annual. And we'll be back with more action in a minute. Here's Tom Morgan ready to start the middle game, and he's got some comebacking to do. Trailing by 45. And that's pretty much been the story. The hit's not that bad, but the leaves, not much to look at. The 5-7 this time. That wood is turned slightly, but I don't know if it's turned enough.
No, he's going to need some divine help or something for this one. Here it comes.
9 box for Tom.
Come on, Tom. You say ball gonna break.
Ooh, and this time right through the center, punching out 3.
Hang tough, team. Run 3 or 4.
Pair of 9s.
Neil Gosselin off to a fast start once again. Last week it was a 151, this week a 149, and he starts the second game with a half Worcester.
And the reason there is he lofted the ball further out in the lane than normal, and when it's in the air, it's not breaking from right to left like his ball normally does, and stay to the right and just chop the 2 pins out of there. He knew it as soon as he threw it.
That'll be an 8. The last 5 appearances here on Stars and Strikes for Neil Gosselin, the 4 that he won to get here, and then last week, he's averaging .392.
Not too shabby.
Oof.
The difference right now of Neil and Tom is that Neil had the 5-7. Pin comes from someplace and knocks it down. When you're going good, you get the break and on a pin that would leave you a difficult spare leave and turn it into a real, not easy, but legitimate anyways. This time the 7. Ooh,
No.
single pin.
Come on, Neil. Get there for the 10. Come on, hit that 10.
Neil a little disgusted with that miss,
Ready to your way.
and it's still there. So, pair of open frames for each bowler. Mentioned Tom's brother Mike cheering him on in the background, Dan. Last year when Tom was on the Tournament of Champions, it was against his brother Mike.
That's right.
And Mike threw a 402 at him, beating his older brother, Tom, with a 359.
10, team. Give him 10.
Mike Morgan, of course, went on to win last year's Tournament of Champions, beating Paul Berger in the championship match. Mike Morgan won 4 matches last year. Came up from the number 4 spot to win the tournament.
Look at this. Oh, boy. For a minute, it was the 8 and the 9. Now it's the 9, but not a good piece of wood. Let's see where it settles down. But
So now you're wondering, who were the other winners of the Tournament of Champions?
you read my mind. I was really wondering.
First one in 1989, Bob Moran. See on Tom's spare attempt. No, Wood took it away. 1990, Paul Berger won it, the only time he's won it, although he's been in every one. 1991, Pat Pay was the winner. And then last year, of course, Mike Morgan.
The year Pat Pay won, he came from the bottom, I believe.
Yeah, he did put, I believe, 3 or 4 wins together. You're right.
Triangle, 2, 4, 5 for Neil.
No. Nope. $8. So both bowlers struggling a bit here in the second game. Our participating sponsors of the Tournament of Champions, our friends at Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan. Emmett Horgan, the owner, will be here in a few weeks to present the championship check. And Somerville Lumber, where you can get it right the first time. Somerville Lumber. A near spare by Neil after losing the first ball off to the left, and it's a 9 box. So after 4 here in game 2, looking for the first mark, Tom Morgan has picked up a couple of pins. We're almost at the halfway point. Don't go away. Tom Morgan trailing by 43 with just the 2 marks in the match. Oh, good first ball that time, and maybe that'll get him on track.
Well, he's been hitting the head pin fairly well, just wasn't able to get a break now and then. This time, even then, it would look like the 5-10, the 10 win, and finally the 5 pin for the strike.
He could use a double. Down 40 plus.
He's got 2 doubles, the 3 and the 6 and the 4 and the 7. Not really quite like what you meant, was it, Doug?
No.
7 on the strike.
Eight, 61 through 6. Neil Gosselin a little off target on the head pin, and then it comes back to take it out, and now look what he's got, the 7, 9, and 10.
Like he lost his footing a little bit, but you know, this Wood's out far enough. He may be able to carry the ball off to get the 7. The Wood will take the 10. The problem might be the 9. No, he got them both.
Funny, you could hear everybody kind of buzzing in the background talking, well, I know how I'd play this shot, and everybody was talking about it, and it did go. Perfect.
Like last week, every time someone would put a mark up against Neil, Neil seemed to find a way to get one himself.
Oh, yes.
Right back with a strike.
He's been leaving a lot of 4 pins standing. This time he kicked it out for the strike. And a nice 10 for Tom. Tom and his wife Linda live in Revere. They have 2 children, Jamie and Kelly. And Tom and Linda run their own business. Very interesting business, too, as Tom fires a strike of his own in the 8th. Tom and Linda Morgan run clinics for kids, a very unique program.
All types of sports, bowling, of course, being one of them.
Yep.
This is on a strike for Neil. 6-9 left. Trying to make it 3 marks in a row.
Nope, picked it right off. And it'll be a 10 bucks. Neil has extended his lead, at least to this point in this second game. 57 now. Well, if the wood turns, let's see, the 2, the 5, and the 8.
It'll be difficult. He's going to almost have to cap it, and you, of course, run the risk of hitting it square in the cap and getting nothing. But he's going to have to turn it a little bit and push it straight back. Looks pretty good.
Oh, yes.
Great shot.
Fine shot for Neil Gosselin.
Not
Mark
much
number
room for error
10.
on that one. You see it. Beautifully done.
That was on a strike for Tom Morgan. Make it spare on strike for Tom. He tries to put a late charge here in the second game to try and lessen his deficit going into game 3, and he gets a nice kick out in the right corner that time, leaving the 2 and the 4.
2 pieces of wood, though. You never know sometimes what's going to happen.
There it is.
Problem.
3 in a row.
It's 119 in the 9th. Of course, the computer will add both the 9th and the 10th once I enter the fill on this ball.
Which is 7. 126 for Tom Morgan, a 2-game total of 230. Now all he can do is sit back and find out what his deficit will be going into the third and final game. That's 9 on a spare, and again it's the 4-pin for Neil. Oh, he just caught it. I thought he had gone by.
I think he thought he went by.
Oh, Neil is really getting it from the crowd right now. Didn't hurt it, just knocked it over. Spare in the 9th. Fill it with 6, the 4 horsemen.
$118 through 9.
Everything but the 4-pin.
Can't help but think the wood cost him that one.
And a 9 box, 127, so Neil adds 1 pin to his lead. He is at 276 through 2. 46 pins the difference. 1 game left for Tom Morgan. We'll be back with game 3 in a minute. Oh, please stop your phone calls to the TV station. We did catch the error in the scoring. Tom Morgan had a 10 in the 4th box, not a 9 as we had originally recorded. So it was 127 for each bowler, 127 for each in the second game, which leaves the lead at 45 pins, and which leaves Neil Gosselin on the line to start game 3.
And let me further explain that the keyboard was not working. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. One of the better one-liners when we're redoing the computer so the score is correct. Doug apologized to the bowlers and hoped it didn't interrupt any of the momentum, and Tom Morgan was quick to say it didn't interrupt my momentum. He's not having a career day thus far.
He was wanting us to go back and see if we could find 45 more pins.
Yeah, he did say, look kind of hard, see if you can find 45 pins.
Set up quiet. Some help out there.
1, 6, 7, 9 left for Neil, trying to make it 2 marks in a row. Game number 3. Going for his second win in this ladder, and make it 6 wins in a row.
That's right. Overall, Neil is now 7-3 here on Stars and Strikes with his win last week.
45 pins Tom's going to try to make up, and he's going to start in a hurry.
Now, 45 pins doesn't give you much time, and that is presuming that your opponent doesn't do anything.
Right. Absolutely. That's
not quite.
The kind of a day.
I neglected to give the name of Tom and Linda Morgan's company earlier. We were talking about the clinics that they run for youngsters. The name of the company is Active Play Management. Tom does a lot of his bowling at the post office lanes in Lynn. Peter Flynn will be here next week to play the winner of this match. But you don't have to wait till next week to see Peter Flynn. You can see him coming up at 1 o'clock as he and his doubles partner Chuck Godzik go for 2 wins in a row in the doubles tournament of champions. If they win that one today against Jack Sanick and Brian McKinley, Peter will be on both hours next week. Well, that's just an indicator of the day that it's been for both Neil and for Tom, really.
Yeah, I always thought when you win a match, you get rewarded. What do we do to Neil? We throw Peter Flynn against him next week.
Spare for Neil in the third.
Assuming he hangs on to this, but certainly having it his way right now.
That's 13 marks already for Neil. He threw a 416 last week. He's got a shot at being right up in that neighborhood again if he throws a good game here.
Just the 5 through the middle. Spread eagle minus the 7 pin.
Now you're on the side. Nothing steep.
Eight box for Neil, 49 through 4. Don't forget our bonus ball contest coming up at the end of the program. $30 in the jackpot plus 2 brand new sets of bowling balls from Paramount Industries on the line should we get a match in pinfall with our winning bowler and the card that we draw. We hope your card is here. There's a spare for Tom. The bowling balls, of course, the prizes provided to us by our good friend Bob Perella at Paramount Industries in Medway, Mass. Oh my, do you believe it? Well, Tom takes everything pretty much in stride. He just kind of turned around and well, that figures. That was the expression on his face.
You know, both Tommy and Mike are class acts. You don't see him get upset that much at all, and just take it in stride.
Been at this game a long time. Neil Gosselin in command. We'll be back. Neil Gosselin.
Just sliding by the head pin and clears out the 3, the 5, and the 8. Oh, almost.
Neil Gosselin with 13 marks today. Only 2 of them are strikes. 2 strikes in his 13 marks. Last week, Neil threw 4 strikes among his 17. That'll be a 9 box. Last week he threw a double strike, which came at a very critical point in the match when Bob Mazur was catching up and in fact had almost caught him. He had gotten within 3 pins late in the second game.
2 and the 7. He's got it.
Yes. Fine shot.
Excellent.
It's a low 5 from Tom Morgan on that one. Tom's overall record here on Stars and Strikes, 7-4. Coming into today's match. But today, just not Tom's day.
That's a little understatement, I guess. That's first game and a half. He was all over the head pin, couldn't buy a break, and now he seems to be slipping by, but it happens.
Final 4 now. And speaking of 4, at 4 fill, the spread eagle came on a spare for Neil Gosselin. And he takes just a 6 box. Oops. Computer again, I'll tell you.
I gotta check this after this match. Check the keyboard, make sure the connections are tight.
What do we do to make sure your connections are tight?
Mine haven't been tight for a long time.
Well, last week Neil threw his lowest score in the third game, a 120, and it appears that he's headed to do the same unless he puts a flurry on late. Right about now is when Tom Morgan will probably get every break. Trails by 64. Mark in the 7th.
Well, it's either going to be 8-9 or strike on this ball. No, he just throws his hands up and say, how many more? Yeah, head pin or what, he says. It's moving down there.
It's still there.
These are the days I like to have a bullpen in bowling, where you can bring another right-hander in. Pinch bowl for me. Not having my best day.
Tom, I think more than anything else, just trying to stay out of Neil's way right now. This is like trying to leave the stage for someone who's winning the golf tournament, you know? For the second week in a row, Neil put that big score up in the first game and made it hold up. He's laboring a bit now, a 5 box. And he had a 6 box last time on lane 32. Oh, Tom just having a little fun with the crowd.
Never loses his sense of humor.
Very important.
That's right. Tom says I should have lulled him to sleep a little earlier.
A 9 for Neil, a 101, and a 377. Oh, there's a strike.
You call it. Look at it.
Take a bow, Tom. The stage is yours. Even if he were to strike out, however, it would not be enough. Match is already over mathematically, almost.
I'm a pressure bowler.
There it is, fair on strike. Well, Tom's going to win this game. He's at 108 plus a ball. That's his 10th mark. Did it quietly here. The later stages. And a 6 fill for a 114 and a 3-game total of 345. A handshake for Neil Gosselin, his second win in a row in the Tournament of Champions. We'll be back with the bonus ball contest and more in a minute. Back we are on the Stars and Strikes Tournament of Champions, brought to you by Tri-State Megabucks, of course. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy, and week 2 again goes to Neil Gosselin, and he can thank really once again that first game, getting him off to a good start. He was able to maintain the lead throughout.
Yeah, this game, nothing surprises me anymore, and I thought that was a classic matchup, but you never know, and Tom will be the first to admit, from one day to the next, this game, a quarter of an inch here or there means all the difference in the world.
Well, let's see. Let's talk to both bowlers. First of all, a round of applause for Tom Morgan, everybody. Not Tom's day, but he's going to take a check nonetheless for $200. Slide right in here so that we can get you on camera. We want everybody to see. And I know that it wasn't your day, but we talked about you keep your sense of humor. I think a couple of the comedy clubs in the area are interested in booking you. You were having fun anyway, which is good.
When you bowl lousy. I was just having one of them days. The first string and a half, I was a little tight on the head pin. I had no roll. Last string and a half, I tried to slow everything down. I was just way off. I could have no rhythm whatsoever. So you can't laugh at yourself. Who else can you laugh at? You know what I mean? I just had an awful day, and Neil bowled real well, and he deserved the win.
And making it tough, too. Second week in a row throwing the big score in the first game.
It's a lot easier bowling when you're ahead. That's for sure. My ball was tight. He was loose. Every time you hit the head pin, to a 9 or a strike. Every time I hit the head pin, I got 3 and 2 or 2 and 1. And the last string and a half, I never hit the head pin, so I wouldn't know.
Well, Tom, congratulations again. Second year in a row getting here. It's good to see you as always, and we hope to see you again real soon.
Oh, great. Hope to be back next year.
All right, Tom. Thanks very much. Congratulations. Tom Morgan. And now Neil Gosselin to roll our bonus ball. We're at $30 in the jackpot, and of course we got a couple of sets of brand new bowling balls from Paramount Industries on the line as well. And lots of cards in our big TV here, hoping to make a match. See what Neil comes up with. Another 9 drop, second year. Oh, a 10. It's a strike. Now, we have had people send in strike cards. That is pretty common, actually.
I think there's one in there someplace.
Is there?
I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be this one.
Oh, my. It was a 9 selection. The name, I'm not going to be able to make out the name, I don't believe, but the card does come to us from Concord, New Hampshire. I believe that's the second or third one in a row we've had from Concord, and not a winner, but we'll decipher the name and mail out a consolation gift. Neil, come on in here for win number 2, and that one you got the big lead early again and didn't have to worry from then on, it looked.
I'm glad I got the big lead because I was hurting at the end.
What was there any just rhythm stopped or?
Yeah, it got tough. Nothing else I can say about it. It got tough.
Well, you'll be happy to know that now that you've won 2 matches and things get a lot easier next week, Peter Flynn.
No, not easier for sure. Not easier at all. He's a tough competitor.
The first game, now we've talked about this a little bit, both weeks now, you've thrown the big first game. Is there something about is your concentration more, you think, in that first game?
Yeah, definitely. It's because I'm trying to get it right out of the box, and it's happening. So hope it'll happen again against Peter.
All right, congratulations, Neil, for 2 in a row. We'll see you next week. All right, Neil Gosselin makes it 2 in a row. And here is the rest of our ladder here on the Tournament of Champions. Neil knocking off Bob Mazur last week, Tom Morgan this week. Next week he takes a crack at our number 3 seed Peter Flynn. And, of course, Rico Baldinelli and Paul Berger await the winners, whoever is able to advance. I think Neil was aware that they kind of left him there at the end, but he's hoping to put it back again together in time for next week.
Yeah, as you can tell by the ladder, it gets a lot easier as the weeks go on. He wins the match, now he's got a ball against Peter, so should be another classic matchup.
All right, don't forget to stay tuned. In just a few minutes, we'll have week 2 of the Stars and Strikes Doubles Tournament of Champions. Chuck Godzik and Peter Flynn going for their second win in a row as they face Jack Sanick and Brian McKinley. And, of course, don't forget to join us next Sunday at 12 noon here for week 3 here on Stars and Strikes. But stay tuned. We'll be right back from the Londonderry Bowling Center with Stars and Strikes Doubles. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole crew, I'm Doug Brown. Have a good day, everybody.